Lego my Jameso. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Oh my goodness, wrong shirt. All right, now that I got my knockoff Lego shirt here, I'm ready to go. Welcome back to Lego my Jameso. This week's episode is going to be showing you how to list a part or a minifigure or even a set on Bricklink, and I'm going to actually list those things. I don't have a set at the moment to list because I don't have any that are currently completed fully, waiting on some parts to come in. But I will show you how to list actual items today. I think it's important to show you how to list something because, it's good to get the ball rolling. It's better to just, push you in there, get you listing something. That way you start, feeling more comfortable with your store. There are so many background things such as sortation, organization, and even, how do you go about having your inventory and, what bins and cases do you use. I will have videos on all of that, but for now I wanted to show you how to list something to get you, like I said, moving forward. I'm going to go into Bricklink now, and I'm going to actually show you how to list a part, and then a figure, and then a couple other minor features in there, and yeah, we'll see how it works out. So let's hope for the best. All right, okay. Go to Bricklink, log yourself in, that way you're on your store page. Toggle right up here to your My Store. Whenever you're listing something or looking at your inventory, the options are right here in this middle column. Right up here, we have inventory. This will be a whole video. I know I keep saying, hey, this will be a video. This will be a video. It will be, I promise. There is so much information with certain tabs and items on Bricklink that I feel as though they should be in one video. So I will do that, and that will help both you and other Lego members out there, because sometimes you only want to look at one feature. That's why it's good to keep things split. So I will get to it. I'm sorry if it's taking some time, but like I said, one video a week and we'll get there. Inventory, massive tab. I'll show you about that in another video, obviously. Add item, we'll do that today in a moment. Mass upload, I have never used this, but this essentially is just a way for you to upload all the parts you have on another website that is similar to Bricklink, and you can then upload them to your store or your page here. You probably won't be using that unless, if you're using that, you're probably already more advanced and have another store on another page. Parting out, all that means is you can essentially take a set and part it out into each individual piece, whether that is to create a wanted list or to actually list all those parts and figures individually. I'll show you how to part something out. That'll be a ways down the line. There's not too much involvement there, but I will part out a set just to show you the process. And then binding super lots. You shouldn't really use this. Well, not that you shouldn't. I have never used this. The feature here allows you to take two parts that are usually connected together and list them as one. So you could take a tire, like a wheel and a tire, and put them together. You could take a door frame and a door, put them together. A window and a window frame, put them together. And it essentially just takes those two parts, combines them, and that's a super lot. So it would be listed as one piece. I'll show you certain tips and tricks on wanted lists as well in another video. Again, another video. We'll get there. But you shouldn't need to worry about this. So there are two ways to really find an item. Number one, you can go to add item here. And then, let's say I'm looking, you could say which item it is here. So let's say we're looking for a figure, and then we'll select category up here, and we just go, we find out what we want. Okay, an Indiana Jones figure, and then we could select, okay, which one do we want here? We'll do gray suit Indiana Jones. And then you could type in things here. So that's essentially the first way to find an item. But what I typically do is I search something up here. So for now, what I have is this purple snake. This snake, it's a unique piece. I have never listed one, so I thought it'd be a good piece to list for this tutorial, for this informational video to help everybody out here. So the way I look up things is I'm just going to type in snake right now. I do know the part number because I looked it up before I filmed this because, technical difficulties. But all right, so I typed in snake. When you type in an item on Bricklink, these features will come up. I typed in snake. I can see, okay, I'm on the overview section right here. It will show me then parts, gear, minifigures, and so on of things with that name or that whatever you typed in. So I typed in snake. So I want to look for parts. So I'll come up here. I can either just hit see all parts, or I can click this for parts. Same page, just two different buttons to get you there. And I'll just scroll and see, okay, do I find it? Okay, no, I did not see it here, so I'll go to page 2. Okay, cool. So here's the snake I want to list. So if you're looking to buy something, you can click new or used. all that matters is, you know, you're clicking, okay, do you want this to be brand new? Is it fine if it's used? Or you can just click on the piece right here. So when I click on this, it brings up the item, and then I could choose the color. Okay, so dark purple, and it will show me the average price rate. You can go over here to see items for sale. They will come up and show you, okay, it will just show you everything for sale here for dark purple. You can do color info and pick other colors as well, but I have one that is dark purple, so that's what I'm going to list. So we see that it's an average price of 17 cents. All this average price here is just simply average price, and quantity average price is based on, you know, a quantity of these sold. So if somebody bought 4 of them, and you know, if you bought, excuse me, let me put it this way. If you bought just one snake, it would be put into that category of average pricing. If you bought 2 or higher of these from somebody's store, then whatever that price was would be put into the quantity by average price rate. So I'm going to, right here, click this and hit add to my inventory. So when I go to add to my inventory, as you can see earlier, we saw this. We were able to, you know, select what we were looking for. Right now, I don't need to touch any of this. It's already selected. I don't need to add a number here. A cool thing, though, is that you can search, go to the page we were just on where it said Bricklink add-on, and you could just type in this number if you knew it, and boom, it would come right up. So, but we're already on this page. Okay, it's dark purple, and now this is where we finally add things. Comments. It's a piece. I don't need to add a comment, but for now, if this had dents, scratches, marks, discoloration, add that, or don't list it if you don't want to list it. But if it does have defects, always list that and make sure it's a lower price. And sometimes you can put, you know, if it had problems with it, I would do this and put scratches. That way people are more apt to see that in the description. So remarks is pretty sweet. It is where you simply add the location of your item. So when I do a video showing you how to create inventory and how to go about creating a shelving system and how do you organize it and label it so that you can always build onto it and grow your store, you know, I'll go in and show you how I did that. But for today's video purpose, I have just this snake that I'm going to put in this drawer bin. It just happened to be one that I had that was empty, but the number on this bin is 40. So this bin, though, is part of, my bins are labeled with letters and then numbers. So I know that this is in bin D40. So what I do here is I just put D40 and it adds that. Quantity, I have 1. And then price, I'm going to list this as, we said it was what? Average price of 15 cents. For now, because I have 1 of them, I'm choosing to add it at a higher price. If you're trying to boost sales, sure, add lower prices, because then people, if somebody wanted this snake and only this and they needed some other parts, you know, they might see it on your store for 5 cents, so they'll click your store and then they'll find some other pieces to meet your store minimum. For my sake, I'm going to list it a little higher in hopes that, you know, somebody might have a large amount of parts they want, and then I can fulfill that order because this thing doesn't disappear quickly at this price. For this, you don't need to do tiered pricing for now. I can show that in another video, but essentially all tiered pricing is, it's if you have, you know, like 10 of these, and let's say I had 100 of these, I can say, okay, if you buy 10 or more, instead of being 20 cents, they're 19 cents. If you buy 50 or more, they are 18 cents. And at 100 or more, you know, 15 cents or 12 cents, whatever you want to do. So you can drop prices based on, you know, the quantity that you buy. Some stores, when they have massive amounts of inventory, they do this, so it's pretty cool. Then I'll go down here, the part is used. You can also decide, do you want to add a sale price? We're not going to from now. You don't need to add your weight. There's already a weight in there for Bricklink. You don't need to add dimensions. We'll do this for sets. And then reserve. So you can reserve something for a particular person. I've never really done this, but some people do this with, you know, you might have a collection where you list your things on Bricklink and then you only let certain members of friends or family see that, because then they could trade with you or buy it. And then, so stockroom item, stockroom means that if you select that, this will then hold your item in your stockroom and then you could choose to go back in and make it live. So stockroom does not allow anybody to see it. It is just, it's listed, it's in your inventory, but it's not for sale to buyers. A cool thing to do with stockroom is maybe when you're first listing your store, you might want to put a couple items on stockroom, and then when you're ready to, have all your inventory available, you mark everything from stockroom over to inventory. I'll show you again how to, that's in the inventory page. I'll show you how to do that at some point. Retain, always retain. If you plan on growing, if your store is going to be a continuous thing, retain items. Retaining means that if somebody buys this snake from me, now if I have another one eventually, I can go in and find that the listing that I created here already, and I could just update the quantity. The price would stay the same, so you don't have to do this twice. When I first started my store, I did not know what retain meant, did not know about the option, and as things sold, they were deleted. So it's a lot of rework to relist items. Always retain things, it helps. Even if you think you're not going to continue with your store after selling things, it's best to retain. You don't necessarily need to retain sets because those always change as you list them, but parts, it's wonderful to retain them. And then again, here's that super lot thing I talked about, so you don't need to worry about that for this item. Okay, so we'll click review here. It will take me over to this page. Here's where it says the description would have been right here. And then here is the remarks. So bin D40, which is what it's in. So D40. The D, letter D is on the bin. So, okay, add to inventory. So once that's added, then you have the options here to edit this, and there's other options as well. But, all right, it is time to list a figure. So I have a Ninjago figure here in a bag. Oh, most figures I put in bags, especially if they're more expensive figures. That way you prevent scratching from even just being in a case. But we're going to list this Ninjago figure. So I already looked up this number because I'm not great with knowing which figure is which or what the figure's name was. So I'm going to go up here and I'm just going to type in NJO051, and there he is. That's the figure. So I'll click this. I see that the figure on average sells for $2. You can go to items for sale and see, okay, what do people have it for it? Because sometimes even though he sells on an average price of $2, if a lot of them are beat up or scratched because kids have played with them, then those might have sold for $1, and then a good condition one might sell for $3. But here you see that, okay, in great condition, and $1. So, listing it for $2 or less is probably fine, and that's the average price. So I'm going to go to add to my inventory. I'm going to put my remarks. So I'll show these bins on another video, but I'm putting it in Fig J. Oh, it's backwards. And then I'm going to put it in number 7 on here. So we will put Fig J07. When you're adding bins and numbers, always put a 0 before it if you have a higher, like any number that's double digits, because 10 would technically show up before 2 if you didn't put 02. So, all right, comments. I already looked at this figure. The decals were great. There was no cracks, so I'm just going to put no cracks. Prints are good. Or I'll put prints great. And if you're listing multiple things at a time, you can keep something copied and just paste it each time. Likewise, pasting the remark section. Put a quantity of 1. And, for the heck of it, I'm going to list mine at 225 in hopes that, that's just how I'm listing right now. A little bit higher because I'm trying to retain a couple things. Okay, so it's used. I don't need to add the grams. I don't need to add any of this. There's not bulk options here. It's not stockroom. We want to retain it. So review item, J07 right there, and add to inventory. So then, this is cool where it quickly allows you to say, oh man, I messed this up, edit my inventory. I can now see this, and I could type something in here. I could switch the remarks. I could change the price. I could make it a stockroom. I could delete it. So that's a cool feature. I'll do a video on listing sets eventually, but sets are pretty much the same. Let's say here, for the sake of this, I will go to this figure, and we will see he was in 2 sets. And okay, let's say I wanted to list this set. So this is just an example. I don't have this set right now, but I click on it. With sets, you don't often check the average price for a good number, an idea for the sale. I typically go in here and see, okay, what do people have things listed for? You know, so this one is complete with a new sticker sheet, no box instructions or extra parts. But that does mean that it comes with the figures and all the parts and new stickers, that's complete. You don't need the instructions or the box to be considered complete, but it would add additional money. So they have it listed for, what was that, $19.99 or 19? So $19.60. So let's say I had one and I'm ready to add it to my inventory. I'll click add to inventory. This is where you can put comments, and you would say, okay, complete set with all the figures, good condition parts, stickers included, instructions included, if you have the box, if that's included. Extended description is where you'd add things that people don't need to see right away, but they might want to know, like saying 2 of the slope pieces have slight discoloration, or 1 sticker, and then put the number of that piece in there in quotate, and usually in parentheses I do that, saying slightly peeling on left corner. People like to see or know those items before they buy. That way they don't receive it and be like, oh man, this is peeled or this is slightly beat up. Again, remarks, quantity. With sets, it's very rare that you'd have a tiered pricing unless you're a massive store selling new sets. Condition, so this would be considered used and complete if you have all the figures, parts, and stickers. So with sets, I sometimes add my own weight, because if you don't add your own weight, it's going to take the weight of the set sealed. So if this set, I have the set with the instructions, the weight is going to be less than what the original one was. Especially the set will be much lighter if you don't have the instructions of the box. A lot of people don't care for the boxes as much, but the instructions are great to have. So again, it depends on the buyers. Then you can decide to add dimensions. Again, if you add the dimensions in here, it would obviously be smaller than what the sealed box set is, so that when you do your shipping methods, it's more apt to, it can fit in smaller envelopes, and your shipping methods will reflect that. So this way that the person is able to select the actual shipping and not have to pay higher for shipping for a larger weight, so to say. And then, so that's pretty much how you'd list it. And then it allows you to review it. And then you would be able to check things and then upload it. So the only real change here is the extended description. Everything's about the same. All right, this video is a bit lengthy. Hopefully this was helpful though. Get listing, and next week I'll definitely come out with something creative that's helpful for your Bricklink store. Maybe I'll just start showing you some background things such as the sortation table. But again, hopefully this was helpful. Sorry it was a bit lengthy. Thanks for checking out the channel. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you enjoy the content and want to see more, please subscribe to Lego My James though. Thank you for checking this out. All right, good night.